Hello. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whatever time it is. I'm trying a new format today with Torah study that we go along together, that I don't prepare, quote unquote. So let's see how it goes. This week's Torah portion, which is something that uh, was delineated uh, centuries ago by rabbis, of dividing up the first 5 books of the Old Testament so that one section is read each week of the year, and more than that somehow somehow even more than all the weeks of the year. um, and it has benefits, and it also declines the remembrance and reminder that it's one text, it's one thing, it's a unified being, if almost, or structure. So that's always important for me to remind us. Me too. So, for the sake of ease, this week's Torah portion, today being literally February 7th, 2021, is Parshat Mishpatim. So there are a lot of kind of rough rules and stuff going on here. Pretty dramatic. And intense, dramatic, rough, kind of like a feeling to it. And then we get to, I'm like, quick. I don't hang out in those spaces. And then we get to, if it's important to you, chapter 23. And the idea of Sabbaths, Shabbatot, comes in. And the first time I read this word, I was blown away, because most of my life I had learned about Shabbat, Sabbath. I mean, Judaism, Christianity, et al. have this rest day, but rests days, or rest days, because it's one word, Shabbatot. The ot on the end makes it plural, and it's feminine noun. Since Hebrew is a gendered language, even in 2021, there are aspects that I do find sometimes make sense with that. So I find that to be something really beautiful, and opens that door. Like, oh, rest days. What does that mean or look like in your life? And then there's a discussion of the 3 pilgrimage festivals, which continue today, thousands of years later, in adjusted forms for sure. But these come out into the Jewish lineage, and I know that some Christian traditions also practice these. So those are Passover, Shavuot, or booths. Very funny. I think it's a funny. Sorry, that's not booths. Shavuot, which is weeks, and Pentecost, and Sukkot, which is translated as booths. It's funny to me. The word sukkah is in the book that we're in right now is Exodus, which also is a name that was given to it way later that doesn't exist in the original at all. And some of the books are following the first word of the book as the name of the book. So if that was practiced for this book, in Hebrew it's Shmot, which means names, even though in Exodus is something that happens in the book, but actually the first word in that delineation of these 5 books, it's names. Surprise. So this discussion of the 3 festivals, some offerings. Yes. And renowned line. This is verse 19, the second half. And the translation is something like, and I'm going to look at the Hebrew. Don't cook a kid in the milk of its mother. Like, oh, but there it is. And it is from this line that the world of kosher, from fundamentalism all the way to something super more easygoing, comes from, is exactly from this line. And there are other verses that talk about foods or animals to not eat, and split hooves and not split hooves, and detail oriented for sure. Don't eat an owl, things like this. But this line is like it's like the crux of it. So people today that don't eat milk and meat together, it's because of this exact line. And then over millennia, interpretation upon interpretation of this line brought about many strict rules of kosherness. But if you go back to this line, a lot of those interpretations come way later with people from other cultures, other times, but are not actually directly from Torah. The next line, verse 20, also verses were added, just like chapters, just like books, just like book names. Just like vowels, just like punctuation. Game changer. Is Hine anochi sholech malach. I sent a messenger lifanecha, before you, lishmarcha, to protect you. Or I often don't feel resonant with that translation, even though it's the one mostly used for this verb, lishmor, is to take care of. to take care of you. Hine, behold, which is Hine, comes all the way from the first lines of Genesis. Hine, I send. This is in the present tense. I send a messenger before you to take care of you, baderech, in the way, on the way, on the road. That's really beautiful. I'll say it again in Hebrew. Hine, anochi sholech malach lefanecha, lishmarcha baderech. Behold, I send a messenger lefanecha, before you, lishmarcha, to take care of you on the way. This happens a lot when it happens a lot for me when I open the text in a open, non-judgmental space, not knowing what I'm going to find there. I don't already know what the story is of a particular verse or chapter or even time of year, particularly. And this beautiful phrase, when I come to the end of it in my reading, lishmarcha baderech, on the way, I feel the completeness, the completion of this offering, almost like this offering from God, from spirit, from truth to you and me. And when I feel that wholeness, I don't necessarily continue onto the line. There's a fullness, and a phrase that people love from Psalms is "kosi revea," that usually is translated as "my cup floweth over." And a recent Rebbe who passed away a few years ago, beloved by many, Reb Salman Schachter Shalomi, says, no, this is translated as "my cup it's full." More of a contented, pointing to contentedness, satisfaction, rather than an overzealous emotional state, which I know. So, like, there's a surprise, and I feel the truth of it because it's true. Hine, hey, please, listen, like, hine, behold, like, hey, listen. If you weren't listening before, listen now. Behold. A lot of birds just flew by. That's what just happened. Anochi, which is the kind of like elongated, beautiful biblical Hebrew word for I, anochi. It could be ani, anochi. Anochi sholech, I send a messenger before you, speaking to you, me. Lishmarcha, to guide you. And if you prefer the protect, that feels better for you, then you can have that translation. on the way, on the way, on the path. הנה אנוכי שולח מלאך לפניך, לשמרך בדרך. הנה אנוכי שולח מלאך לפניך, לשמרך בדרך. הנה אנוכי שולח מלאך לפניך, לשמרך בדרך. So here, we remember the knowing that we are protected, guided, good things are ahead of us, always on the path of our lives, which are intertwined in a marvelous dance. Shavua Tov. Thank you, everybody. Have a great and beautiful week.